I'm making this video because I've seen um, sometimes directly, and other times things kind of intimated that, or subtly said regarding people being on, some kind of any kind of state benefits or SSI, and they either homeschool or their children attend online schools. Kind of people trying to just kind of create the vibe that when people are disabled or people are on any kind of state benefits, they don't have a right to school their children at home or for their children to attend an online school. Well, if well, I don't have many subscribers, maybe a couple of interested people or people I'm helping, but if this was disseminated to thousands of people, I think that the state of Michigan should be very concerned. If people share this, I hope that you do share this. It doesn't matter people's income. It doesn't matter if people are, sometimes disability cases take a long time, especially when you're dealing with a VA that has deep roots in the community. It's not impartial at all. Very few direct appointees, and most of the providers are community providers, especially when they're from largely one hospital system, one medical group out of 4 or 5 in a region of the state. So they pretty much got a monopoly, even on the VA. This can be probably, actually I wouldn't say probably, this can be very problematic for people that may be doing disability, whether SSI or Social Security or VA, and people criticize that too. I've found people try to cast a doubt like you're really doing anything, or like, well, maybe you're not disabled. I've seen people cast a lot of dirt in water that should be clear, and this is all to disenfranchise people. And then again, it goes into the retaliation or painting somebody as mentally ill. They escalate it, and the fact of the matter is, if people are disabled and it's on paper, according to the Americans with Disability Act, this is conservatives and some liberals, they're trying to cast a doubt. You don't have to have a doctor's signature saying, oh yes, John Smith is disabled because. The only time when you read the ADA that you need a doctor's letter is for an accommodation or for some kind of special treatment, like i.e. somebody lives in an apartment complex, or they need a grant to get a ramp, or let's say they live in a high-rise building with no elevator. They need to go to the bottom floor, stuff like this. Or let's say they're at work and they can't stand up all day, or they need a specially designed chair, etc., etc. That's when you need a doctor's letter. Otherwise, somebody saying Joe Schmo is disabled with the doctor's signature, that's not true. All you need to do is present medical files. And again, you don't have to be currently disabled. All you have to do is have some disability in the past that could possibly cause problem in the future. Now, if you had a broken bone that healed, unless there's arthritis that's set in, probably not. But if you have arthritis that's slowly destroying joints, or you have a medical condition, where perhaps like sleep apnea, they're finding every year more and more people have this disease. It's being identified. Before it was just called bad nights or toss and turn sleep, whatever they wanted to call it. Now it's an official diagnosis. Some people have serious sleep disturbances, and sleep affects everything. How fast you heal, it affects digestion, it affects cholesterol, because cholesterol is made while you sleep. And if you're not sleeping well at night, that's going to throw off your liver and it's going to throw off all those enzymes and all of those the um, the cholesterols, HDL and LDL. It's going to throw them off because it's going to either your body will adapt and do it when you're asleep, which means while you're eating and living, your body is pumping cholesterol into your blood. It's supposed to be at night, that way the body can effectively metabolize it or store it as fat. But when you're, going during the day and your body is metabolizing the cholesterols, that's a complication for your body, and it can become dangerous because you have to add in your triglycerides, which are consumed during the day. So, if you have a lot of cholesterol being metabolized, not metabolized, we'll say metabolized but not burned off, but metabolized during the day, the same time that you're eating, all kinds of carbs, and your body is creating your triglycerides, you're in danger of a stroke or a heart attack. So anyway, these things, all you have to do is present proof. It could be a diagnosis, it could be a report, it could be a letter from a doctor, telling you, this would be the notes, case notes, stuff like that. You're not legally required to have a letter that says you have this and this and this. What this do is people overstepping ADA so they can cross boundaries into your personal life and then cross boundaries into HIPAA. Your apartment complex or your, some kind of an agency that's going to build you a ramp doesn't need to know medically exactly what is wrong with you. That's a crossover into HIPAA. And when agencies like NDHHS or Michigan Works or other places try to force, you to get in, or housing agencies try to force you to dig into your medical life, your medical history, they don't have that right. But I see it. And, I see it a lot in people using state of Michigan letterhead and state of Michigan papers like from MISHDA or Equal Housing or NDHHS. They misquote state statute and they misquote federal U.S. code. They misquote it or they delete portions of it. All to hijack our rights. So, just keep that in mind. And people, they will try to delegitimize your medical care and blame you, essentially. There's a lot of victim shaming in Saginaw County. That's why, even though people laugh, they say, oh, you're paranoid. No, people don't want us to leave this county because they know how much I hate it. And as long as we're kept here, they can victimize the heck out of us. And lots of different people, lots of different complexes, individual people, and lots of agencies are making a lot of money. Over $120,000 have been made off me and my daughter in 8 years. Actually about $125,000. And this doesn't include subsidies paid to the state and to the VA for doing various things for us. So it's higher than that. It's higher. And this also doesn't include the wages that were paid people while they were working on our case. So, we're looking at a lot more than $125,000, a lot more. And this also doesn't include, as I said before, state benefits paid to the state like SNAP. SNAP has supplemental monies from the federal government. This doesn't include, what does the VA pay for a price of a referral or price of ER or ICU? A lot of this stuff I don't know. So, a lot of money. A lot of people are making a lot of money off of us, off of our suffering. And when I say we want to be gone, they say, oh yeah, you can be gone. We could do it in a snap of a finger and take everything away. Again, abuse and gaslighting. And this has happened to other people too. This channel is not just about us. And besides, dealing with the disability issues with various agencies or with MDHHS, uh, you can also be looking at how people are trying to, as I said before in the beginning, trying to make it look like because you're low income, you don't have a right to homeschool. Oh no, that's for the middle class or for the wealthy. It's not true. It's not true. Anyone has the right to homeschool, even if you're on welfare. As a matter of fact, homeschooling and online homeschooling is the only thing mentioned in the Michigan State Constitution. It doesn't mention a right to go to a public school, believe it or not. It establishes public school, but it's only homeschooling and online homeschooling. Homeschooling and traditional homeschooling, I mean, it's blurred now because there's so many things, but the difference between traditional homeschooling is you sit down at the desk with your child all day and teach them. Online schooling, they have teachers, they have co-students, they have online classrooms, they have platforms they log in to do homework. It's different. It's very different. There's with online schooling, there's a lot less parent involvement, and parents are actually not teachers, they become coaches. You have that right as a resident of the state of Michigan, but people are trying to slowly, scrape it away from the state constitution by cleverly burying it in doubts and ambiguities and disenfranchisement for state citizens, for residents of the state. It is your right. Doesn't matter your income, doesn't matter your education background, it's your right. And there's nothing better than working at home for parents. And even if it's a hybrid job, there's a lot of them out there, a lot of companies, even doctors now, nurse practitioners can do hybrid. A lot of opportunities out there. As a matter of fact, for doctors and nurses that move around or do hybrid stuff, they make more money. Lawyers, attorneys that do online work, taking cases online and only showing up for, in court appearances in person, they actually make more money too. So cost reduction, you remove a whole layer of operating expenses. Everybody saves money. So it's actually better to have your kids at home with you while you're working and they're doing online school. So protect your rights, folks, and know the truth, and don't let people try to take away your rights. Just because you're having a hard time or you're low income or you're disabled does not mean you can't have an online school and take an active part in your children's education instead of the state doing it in places where teachers are overburdened, some of them burned out, some of them underpaid, and kids are bringing knives and guns.